Two, three. Hello, everybody. This is another episode of Max One on One. After a while, I'm here with what a great and talented musician. He's a singer, a songwriter. He has collaborated with many projects, also TV. Robert Fleischman. So, how did you decide to be a musician? Was that at a very early age?
My parents had the stereo, the record player in the living room, so I couldn't always listen to music when I wanted to. So I recorded albums onto my tape recorder, and then I could take them in my bedroom.
Very
and
cool.
I could listen to them, and then I would sing along with the tapes. And then eventually I figured that I would, when nobody was around, I would turn on the stereo in the living room and really crank it up, and then I would sing along with Beatle records or Rolling Stone records or
Oh,
the
wow.
Kinks or the Who, and then I would turn on my tape recorder and then I would listen back to see if I was blending into the track.
Wow. But are you more a Rolling Stones or Beatles, or it's equal for you? It's not,
But I'm both. I love the Beatles because they were very. It was cerebral and very melodic.
Yeah.
And the Stones were very body music, very rhythm and blues. And,
Yes.
something that you move your body to,
Yeah, cool.
And yet, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and John Lennon and Paul McCartney, those guys were. That's who I and that's who I emulated, and that's how I learned how to write songs.
Okay. Perfect. That's a great inspiration. The 14th until you started to work with Journey. What do you have a band before in that
Yeah.
window? Yeah. What was the name of it?
I was in a band called Wolfgang,
Okay.
and then I was in a band called Shatterminks,
Yes. And that's
and that band had a lot of. Do you know who Bob James is?
no.
Sammy Hager's
Oh, okay. Yes.
group.
Now
And so the band that he was in was Shatterminks, and then when he left, I took his place
Oh, nice.
and was in Shatterminks for a while. But that was short-lived. But then I got into just getting into tape recorders and writing songs.
Very
And
cool.
so one time I had a meeting with Chrysalis Records,
Okay.
publishing company,
Mm-hmm.
in the 70s, and I was there with the publisher, and he was listening to my songs, and all of a sudden I turned around because he looked at the door, and I turned around to see who he was looking at, and it was George Martin,
Wow.
the producer of the
Yeah, the
Beatles.
Beatles. Yeah, very
And
awesome.
so he was standing there, and he listened to two of my songs,
Wow.
and he said, "Great job, lad," and
Wow.
gave me the thumbs up. And
Wow.
after that day, I knew that I wanted to be a professional songwriter.
Oh my God. That's like a blessing, man. That he blessed your
It,
career, man.
it was a blessing in a sense to me.
Oh my God.
And then I met him 2 times later afterwards, and
Okay.
he remembered. And so that was a big pinnacle.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's quite a story, actually.
Yeah, it's a unique moment. Not every musician can have that opportunity. Could have, right? Because he passed away.
Sure, honey.
But amazing, Robert. Let's talk a little bit about Journey. You wrote 3 songs with them, and it seems so to me. Everything seems to be on the right track when you join the band, right? And then, like you play a couple of shows, and you were writing songs. Like you weren't preparing the record. What's the name of the record? You were
Infinity.
that one that has Anytime, Wheel in the Sky, and
Yeah. I think I did like 48 shows with them, I think, or 38 shows.
wow, that's a
And
lot.
and then we were going to go. We actually went in the studio and recorded the demos for some of the songs. We did Wheel in the Sky,
Mm-hmm.
Anytime,
Yes.
Winds of March,
Yes.
and
Yes.
some other ones
Yeah.
that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Um,
There are some demos on YouTube actually that we can listen.
right,
That's
right,
awesome.
right. And but those were just like, they weren't really. I didn't really. They weren't worked on. They weren't like honed in and perfected. They were just kind of like scratches,
Hmm.
scratch tracks and
Yeah.
everything. But they didn't even know. I picked uh, Roy Thomas Baker for the band.
Okay.
They didn't even know who Roy Thomas Baker was.
Okay.
And they used to go. They would ask me, "What'd you do last night?" And I go, "Well, I went down to go see the Dead Kennedys and and all these punk bands that were happening in San Francisco at the time. A big punk
Hmm.
movement was happening at that time,
Hmm.
and they were totally unaware of that. They were just,
Hmm.
before I joined the band, they were a rock, fusion, jazz, rock
Yes. Yes.
that
Yes.
made,
Like.
15-minute songs. So when I came into the band, it was like I kind of rearranged the furniture, and it was kind of very hard to do because you know those guys are great musicians. I mean,
Mhm.
each one of them are just
Yes.
terrific virtuoso type musicians, and they had such great history, and they already had so many albums out prior to
Hmm.
meeting me. It was kind of difficult for me to tell them to do anything, but I had to because um, it wouldn't get the result that we got.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I kind of like was like the architect for that sound.
Yeah, it seems to me, Robert, that you were always like avant-garde. You were always, on whatever was next in the art, in the music, and that's what you brought to the band. So you brought
Yeah,
like the new, fresh air to what's going to happen later.
it's just a shame that I didn't continue on with the band, and the reason
Mm-hmm.
I didn't continue on with the band is because there was an A&R guy
Mm-hmm.
who was uh, uh, very close with Steve Perry,
Oh, okay.
A&R guy from CBS, which the band was on.
Yep.
So when I actually met, um, when I first came into the band,
Mm-hmm.
I met with all the people, all the executives at
Yes.
the CBS, and they told me that they were going to let go of the band unless they got a lead singer and somebody who could write songs. So
Wow.
I got hired to do it. So
Yes.
I did. So then later on, this one A&R guy that I was saying, he was paying for all of Steve Perry's demos and everything. So he wanted he wanted Perry in Journey. So the A&R guy, called up Herbert, the manager of Journey,
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Look, if you take Steve, I'll give you a larger budget. I'll give you more
Mm.
airplay. I'll give you a producer. I'll give you more money for a tour." So it was sort of like, "I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse."
Yeah, that's what it sounds to me because there were no reason to let you go, and also
No,
everything, like I say, looked to me that was on tracks. Do you feel like mistreated or blacklisted during the gigs or during the recordings? Because I had that feeling that they kind of trying to push you out of a band, like, and it was in a very good, with good manners,
right?
like.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, but I think the band. If I had stayed with the band, I think the band would have just been just as big as it
Yes.
is, but it would have just been a little bit more edgier.
Okay.
And then when Perry came in, then that's when all the 12-year-old girls and all that stuff came into the
Yeah.
thing. So,
Yeah.
but I am very grateful to them because they championed my songs,
Mm-hmm.
and they still play on the radio to this day,
Nice.
and I'm happy for that. And they included me with the Hollywood Walk of Fame
That's amazing. That's amazing.
also. But the thing that kills me is that I think that everyone that was involved in the band should have been involved in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
They only, took certain people. But,
Gotcha. Well, but it is what it
that
is,
would be good for the whole band in itself,
Yeah.
like Steve Jerry and,
Yep.
all that,
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Because Bobby Rock, he wrote an amazing book. Not only this is about the Vinnie Vincent Invasion years, but this is not only about that. If you are a Vinnie Vincent or Kiss fan, it's not only about that, but it's also about those years. How people lived, how the rock and roll was a movement. In those years, and and I think it's an amazing book. And I don't have many questions about that, because I recommend everybody to go and read the book. But there's a part that is missing. That is, how did you meet Vinnie Vincent and probably Dana Strum, and how did you guys decided to put a band together? Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Oh man. Well, anyway,
You don't have to respond.
Bobby Rock's book.
Yeah.
He's a great writer.
Yep.
He wrote songs with Paul Stanley, Adam something. Anyway,
I think I know. Yeah.
He was a friend of mine, and he asked my friend if he knew any singers. So my friend said, "Call Robert." And so Adam had my number, and Vinny asked Adam if he knew any singers. So he gave Vinny my number,
Mm-hmm.
and then Vinny called me up, and he wanted to. We talked for a bit, and he wanted to come over to my house and play me some stuff, this project. So, Vinny knocks at the door, and I open up the door, and Vinny's there, and he's, got jeans on and some sneakers and a T-shirt on, and he's got 2 cassettes in his hand, and he walks in.
Wow.
And so comes in and sits down in my living room, and I made some tea or whatever, and we put the cassettes in, and I listened to like 3 or 4 songs.
Nice.
And I was really impressed. And the reason I did it is because I loved his songwriting, and he was just an incredible guitar player. So I just kind of thought, well, I'll just put my what I do on the side, because this guy is really amazing. So we.
Here, I'm just showing the record. I have the record here, the vinyl record that you and Vinny signed for me. I was showing it on the camera.
So he played me the songs, and I said, yeah, I'd love to, work on the stuff. And so we went in the studio. We recorded. I guess we did about 5 songs, and we went in with Andy Johns, who was an engineer for the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And we worked with him for a couple of days. And so then, in the beginning of this whole thing, after we recorded, Vinny said, man, you and I are going to do this, and da-da-da-da-da, and we're a team, and all this stuff. And I go, okay, as long as it's 50-50, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he played the stuff for a couple of record companies, and he played it for Chrysalis Records, and they fell in love with it.
Yep.
And then I didn't hear from Vinny, and what he did was he signed a deal with Chrysalis.
Oh.
So it's basically like this. Vinny and I built a house together, and he sold the house, and he took all the money. That's what Vinny did, basically, in a very simple manner.
So that automatically you were out. Like you say, I'm not.
And I just go, look, I don't want to, who wants to work with a crook,
Gotcha.
So then the record company was just kind of pissed because I wasn't involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, you get Robert back into the scene. So they, I said, well, I'll do it for this amount of money, and I'll do it for this and this and this, and,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's only fair, and I'll do the record. So I did the record.
Cool.
And then at the end of the record, and we were doing the photo shoot for the
Mm-hmm.
album cover,
Mm-hmm.
and which was horrible. I had my hair was like at one length, like down to my shoulders, and the stylist goes, "Oh, let's cut his hair." So some fucking guy cuts my fucking hair and makes me look like a fucking poodle, and I'm just like pissed. And so
That's why you have that face that you're so serious in that.
yeah,
You're in that.
yeah. So anyway, I look like I'm with like 3 inflatable drag queens, and so their manager, Vinnie's manager, came to me with like a 5-inch contract,
Mm-hmm.
like a phone book, and says,
Oh my God.
"Here, just sign it." And I'm going, "I'm not signing anything. I'll take it to my lawyer." "No, you have to sign it now." I go, "No, I'm not going to sign it now. You have to sign it now." And I said, "No, I'm not signing it now." And so he got in trouble because he told the Chrysalis, the record company, that I was already signed to him. And they found out that he was lying, that I wasn't signed to him. And so they fired him and got rid of him. And then everything just fell apart.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
then they asked me if I would go on tour with them, and I said no. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I started getting these weird letters and weird things from Dana,
Oh, really?
thinking that I didn't know they were coming from him, saying that I would never work in music business again, and all this weird stuff.
Oh, man.
And it's really funny because he was telling me that he was producing some band downtown L.A. and all the letters that came to me, these weird letters were all from downtown Los Angeles.
Oh.
I knew they were from him. Well, for a long time, I just, the guy was just, he was just a dumpster to me. I didn't like him. And then maybe about 4 years ago, I went to see Vince Neil with some friends, and Dana was playing with Vince Neil.
Yes.
And so Dana found out I was there, and he asked for me to come see him, and I did. I came. First I said no, and I said no about 3 times, and then I said okay, and then I met with him, and he changed a lot, and so I'm in good terms with him now,
Nice. One very quick technical question, because in Bobby's rock book, he said that Vinnie Vincent, he was so, his ear was so trained, he was so perfectionist that he has this, like this tempo machine that that's like, for the drum machine. Sorry, thank you for the correction. And Vinnie heard one miss, that Bobby Rock missed one hit, so it was all perfect, but he missed one. I said, wait, rewind. That's what he says in his book. Yeah, this is not perfect, and he had to record it again. So how was?
I was there when all that was going on.
Okay, so how was it? Because I can imagine the tension of trying to get the most perfect.
It was unnecessary.
Okay. That's a good friendly term to define it. Well, thank you. No, thank you for sharing that, because that's something that got stuck in my mind, because
I felt bad for Bobby. I mean,
yeah.
Vinny and I auditioned drummers,
Yes.
and we sat there and we listened to about a lot of different drummers. And when Bobby came in, Bobby set up his drums, and he was just kind of setting him up and hitting him and kind of playing a little bit and everything. But I could tell right there that he was the guy. I
Ah,
go to Vinny, this is the guy. And he goes, oh, well, let's listen to him a little bit more. I go, no, this is the guy.
ah,
You don't understand. This is the guy. So,
ah. I love Bobby
yeah,
Rock. I love him,
yeah,
man.
I love him too. And he's a great person.
Yeah.
And I've always felt very close with him and have kept in good contact with him for years. So,
Nice, nice, nice.
yeah. So he's a fantastic person, human being.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he he drove into the parking lot like just running out of gas. He had hardly any gas and just rolled in. And then we had to give up. I think we gave him money for gas.
Oh my God, poor Bobby, man. He was a kid, like 18, 19 years old, right? Like very young kid.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But he's doing great. He's with Lita now.
yes, yes, yes.
He's a happy guy.
Yeah, I'm happy for him, man. This is amazing, and thank you for sharing all these stories. I love this is gold to me, Robert. This is gold to me. Let me bring you back to 2018. That's the first time I met you, in that expo that it was so,
Atlanta?
yeah, that was so famous, because you like kind of joined Vinny. I don't know if you saw him, in all those during those years, but that was amazing. That was a gem on rock and roll, because spontaneously you walked to the stage and you started to sing with Vinny when he was playing an acoustic, with his acoustic guitar for like I don't know 200 or 300 guys that we were there that night. And I remember that was like magical, and I know that Vinny loves you as a singer, and I mean I think you're his favorite singer, and that's my opinion. And how do you, what do you feel that night when you reconnected? I think it was magical, man.
Well, I hadn't seen him in like 20 something years, right?
Wow. Yeah, no, that nobody saw him.
And it was like seeing a dead
Yes.
person.
Oh man, you kidding me?
It was like alive. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so bizarre. It was like it was just it was weird. It was weird. It was just it was very emotional.
yes.
I had seen him and I talked to him, and then I was there on the side of the auditorium,
Mhm.
and he was up there, telling his stories,
Mhm.
which I thought his stories were very sad. I thought it was just really a dark cloud,
Mhm.
personally,
Yeah.
and it was just gloomy, and it was just up there, just the the river of sorrow. It was
Yeah.
just
Let me tell you.
rolling down.
Yeah. Let me.
And so I'm
Mhm.
standing there and I'm listening to him, and then he starts playing, and then he starts into Back on the Streets.
Yes. And tears,
Back
right?
on the Streets.
Yeah.
And so
Back on the
I'm
streets.
beginning Back on the Streets, and I thought, oh, well, I'll go up closer to see, to see him. So
Yeah.
because I was like in the back of the auditorium in a way,
Yeah.
and so I walked up to the side of the stage, and then all his people were there,
Yep.
and they're going, "You got to go up there. You got to go up there." And I'm like,
Nice.
no, I can't go up there. This is his day. This is his moment.
Yeah.
This is his day. And
Yeah.
he goes, "No, you got to go up there." And so they grabbed me and literally like lifted me up onto the stage, me up there, and I walked up there and I put my hand on his shoulder, and he turned around and he was just
Happy
the
to
lights just went on.
yeah. I think he was so happy to see you, and he was happy that
Yeah.
you joined him on stage. That was a unique moment, that when you say, "Wow, I'm so happy that I was there at that moment," to see that reunion between the two of you.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was
yeah.
awesome.
Well,
Had I not, but when I went up there, it was like boom, it all
yeah.
changed.
The energy
It
changed.
was
The energy. He was
for
happy.
the
Yeah.
best.
Yes, I think I agree. I agree. There was a good moment, a good
At
energy.
least it was an up moment at the
Yes,
end. You know
yes,
what I
yes,
mean?
yes,
Because
yes.
I didn't see it getting up. I
Yeah.
just saw it going down.
Yeah, but to me, like his flexibility and availability to sign all the memorabilia that we brought. I know we paid for it, but he signed actually extra stuff. And, it was worth to see you both singing and playing guitar.
I mean, I sat next to him and I was like, it was like, sitting next to a ghost, like your dead brother,
Man.
actually not dead, he was alive, he's there right next to you,
Yeah.
and I got choked up. I got choked up, so did he.
Oh my
He
God.
got backstage, we're both crying.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I'm happy that that happened, because it's like probably you could close the cycle, like I like when
And
there's
I just wish that he, in the very beginning, hadn't done what he did,
yeah,
because it would have been such a great run of music.
yes, oh, definitely. Again, something that promised a lot, that
Yes,
it
it
could,
had a
yeah,
lot of potential.
exactly. That's the word, potential. That's the word. Anyways, but tell me, a little bit about, nowadays, because I follow you, on Facebook and I see your pictures or your videos. You have like a whole, in a building, it seems like you have a whole floor of a building and you have, your art, your piano, and you write songs or, hey, I'm writing this song and you share it a little bit with the fans. Tell me a little bit about that life.
I have like industrial space. I have like about 2,400 square foot industrial space, and that's where I paint. And I paint now
Hmm.
pretty consistently,
Yep.
and I have art shows, and I sell my art, and I always have painted ever since I was 13 years old. I painted
Hmm.
and did music. So I've either always did music or I painted. And when I got kind of bored of, writing music, or I just didn't feel like writing music, I would
Hmm.
paint. And then I would, and then I'd do my music. So I went back and forth all my life that way.
Yeah.
And so, but now, I'm much older now in these days. And so I just this is the way I wanted to go out. Just, paint and occasionally write. And I have I got about 20 songs that I've written that I really think are good songs, and that eventually I will record
Nice.
and put out.
Nice.
But I'm not promising anything really soon. But
Hmm.
I'm just saying I'm kind of thinking on that about doing that. But
Hmm.
I really would love to do it with a record company.
Gotcha.
I'm tired. I don't want to spend my own money on it.
Gotcha.
I'm tired of financing my own stuff. So
I
because
see.
I have quite a few solo albums. I got the Perfect Stranger album, and then I
Hmm.
have the Channel,
Hmm.
and then I have the Two Sky albums, and
Yeah.
then I have about three or four solo ones where I just play everything
Hmm.
on Dreaming in Tongues. I
Hmm.
have electronic music,
Nice.
ambient and trance music. I've done ambient music ever since 1974 or 5.
Oh, very cool.
So
I
I've
didn't know
been
that.
doing ambient music, way back then.
Very
Electronic
cool.
music.
Also, you collaborated with Gene Simmons, right? Because a year or two
Yeah.
ago he called you, and some way he explained that you are part of a Kiss family, right? I remember you telling me that story, and I know
Yeah.
you presented the Vault because he was presenting this huge box, with a bunch of CDs,
Yeah, I have a song on there.
Piece of the Rock.
Yeah,
That's
Piece of the Rock is
yeah,
what it's called.
yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so we did a demo of that, and he called me up and said he wanted to put it on his Vault thing, and I'm going like, I don't even remember the song. So when we went to the Atlanta, to the Vinnie thing,
Yep.
they had a booth with the Vault there,
Hmm.
and I said, I went up to the guy and said, hey, can you, play me that song, because I don't even remember. So this is the first time I heard it since we recorded it.
Amazing, amazing.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it was
work.
quite well. But
I,
he and I go back quite a ways.
yeah, and
He's always been terrific with me.
Yeah, yeah. He gave you a jacket, right, with the money bag sign, and he signed it for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That's amazing, Robert. Robert, tell me, across your career, what's.
When I was recording the Perfect Stranger album,
Mm-hmm.
I I recorded at the record plant in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And at the record plant in New York, they have a basement. And in the basement was an area with a chain link fence around it, about maybe like 8 by 10
Mm-hmm.
square foot space, and it was filled with John Lennon's equipment, his amps and
Wow.
his Mellotron and his Chamberlain and Mellotron. I think it was Mellotron.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got to, so somebody let me go in there, and they hooked up the Mellotron onto one of the amps, and I got to play the Mellotron, and on the Mellotron was the flutes for Strawberry Fields.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then there was the part of Bungalow Bill where the guitar goes ding,
Yes.
that's on there.
On the White Album.
The strings for that were played on I can't remember. You Know My Name. There was a
Mm-hmm.
B-side of a kind of like a comedy kind of song that they did,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
the Mambo band
Yes,
on
yes.
there. And so
That's on the CD. I'm sorry, that's on the CD anthology. I'm pretty sure that those songs. You Know My Name. Here's My Number. And then Paul McCartney started playing around
so
with.
all that was on there.
Wow.
Just in there displayed, and so that was a really
Wow. What a moment. What that and George Martin blessing your career. What else you can ask, as a musician? That's, I mean, amazing, Robert. I want to thank you so much for your time. You're very kind, always, always. Every time I see you, you're so kind to me. I know you take your time to spend a few minutes talking about music or your art, your paintings. That's amazing. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you.
So yeah, tell your friends to go to my Instagram.
Yes.
It's Robert Fleischman. Art.music.
Okay.
And that you can check out all my art that I do there.
Thank you so much, Robert. Again,
Thank you very much for having me on your show, and all the best to you, okay?
to you too. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You too. God bless you and your family.
You